Ravinder. Thank you for coming. How are you today?
Hi, Veronique. Thank you so much for having me on. I am having a wonderful day. I enjoy summer and it's warmed up here. We've got blue skies. That makes everything good
Oh,
when the skies are blue.
yeah. Where are you located?
I'm in Spokane, Washington. That's about 5 hours inland from Seattle.
Yeah. So, yeah, completely understand. I'm in California, and to be honest, today it was so cold. I was like, what's going on? But now it's getting better. Yeah, I love summer too. Summer is my season. So today we're going to talk about the mind. I like that. How to train your mind, how to be self-empowered by training your own mind. And you wrote a book that we're going to talk about, the science of mind training, the science of self-empowerment. So how did you come up to writing that book? What was your personal journey to shape, the book's message?
It was definitely a journey. It's a journey. I mean, I see my work. Yes, my book is mind training, but that's a tool for the self-empowerment. To me, it's all very, very practical. I love science. I find it fascinating. I love learning about how the mind works, but the most important part is going to be the practical applications to everything. It's not, it's just not the theoretical interest. I'm interested in how we can use it to make our lives better. And I suppose I was introduced to that concept when I was working in a path lab. My degree's in microbiology. I was working in a path lab, and there was a lecturer that came around. It was sponsored by the hospital. So it gave it a kind of quasi endorsement because the hospital was sponsoring it, but it was on hypnotherapy. At that time, I thought hypnosis was something people did as a joke for entertainment. It wasn't something I took seriously. But through this lecture, I got to see how past experiences can play a huge role in our current experience, our current day. So those things that have happened in the past, the hurts we've experienced, the failures we've experienced, all of that gets locked away in our subconscious mind, along with everything else that we learn from society, from our families, from schools. Everything gets locked away in there. And because we have a negativity bias, most of the information that is programmed in our subconscious mind is negative. It's all about what we can't do. It's not about what we can do. And most of our ideas, our choices, they all come from the subconscious mind. So we are programmed. Our subconscious mind is programmed and our subconscious mind controls what we do. But through the teachings, through everything that I have learned, through everything that I have researched, we can take conscious control of that and actually make changes. So I learned that we are more powerful than we believe that we are. It's just up to us to choose to take that power.
Yeah. Completely agree with this. So are you a hypnotizer? Do you do that? Do you hypnotize people and help them?
I did a complete training in hypnosis and psychotherapy, so I've certainly done that. I'm not practicing hypnotherapy right now. I try to actually reach more people. The work that we have in the book, I saw that as condensing 30, 35 years of research and studying and practicing. I'll practice all these techniques on myself first of all. So I'm the first guinea pig.
Yeah. So I guess one of the tasks to rewind your brain, because you just talk about it, to you have to make the decision to want to change. So people, we self-sabotage ourselves. Like you say, we have always negative thought. I was talking with another guest a few months ago, and she was telling me, oh, we have, I don't remember the number exactly, but she's like, we have like 1,000, 2,000 negative thought in our brain all the time. And I was like, yeah, that's true. It's really rare that we think, positively. What would be one technique to change that mental habit to always thinking negatively or to self-sabotage ourselves? How do you help people with this?
There are lots of different ways to do it. And the subtitle of my book is The Science of Self-Empowerment. And the reason for that is I want to provide the reader with the tools so they can choose which ones they want to use. The most important part when it comes to mind training is understanding that these ideas are in your subconscious mind. So how do they get in there? So there are tools, there are techniques, there are ideas for you to think about for taking charge of that. So perhaps you're the kind of person who enjoys movies, the he did me wrong type movies. Lots of females can like those, and guys have their own versions of that. But all of that will negatively impact you. So just suppose, you have a get together with all your friends. Well, if all of your friends believe in talking badly about their partners, then that's catching. And then what happens is you end up going home and you get to see all the negative things about your partner. Whereas if when you get together with your friends, you're all talking about the positive things, well, that will influence you. And you will go home and you will see the positive. So you can see very directly there how your life can be programmed, can be manipulated. So that is one example. You have to pay attention to the kind of information that you consume, the media, the entertainment that you like, the people that you hang out with. There is a great deal of truth in the idea that you are as successful as the six closest people to you. But you can extend that even further, because success isn't just financial or business. It comes down to relationships, your ability to parent, all of these different areas are going to be influenced by the kind of stuff that you consume. And then you've got all of your past experiences that are programmed into your subconscious mind. Well, there's different ways to access that information. First of all, you have to realize that the answers are in your subconscious mind, and that the more you question your own subconscious mind, the more the answers will appear to you. Now, first of all, when you start this exercise, you can get some crazy answers coming back up. When you open yourself up to all possibilities, then there can be some, interesting ideas. But when you hit on the right one, you have that inner knowing. That's where it came from. So, for example, I used to have a absolute phobia of public speaking. Wouldn't do any of it. This kind of interview just wouldn't have happened just a few years ago, really.
Okay.
But I looked at it more, I examined it more, and one of the memories that came to the surface was I was in school. I would have been 8, 9 years old. We were putting on a production, and one of the other kids wasn't there. So I had to do a double role. One of the roles I had was taking two coconut shells, hitting them together to make the sound of horse hooves. But then I had to take, the role of this other person, and he had a narration role. So I had to put my coconut shells down and pick up this piece of paper. And I obviously looked pretty clumsy at the time, and the audience laughed. I locked that into my subconscious mind. I was embarrassed because the audience was laughing at me. I locked that into my mind that I don't want to put myself in a situation where people are going to laugh at me. It's only when that memory comes to surface, and I'm a mom now. My kids are grown, but I have been through that. I've been to these school productions. I know today that the audience wasn't laughing at me. They just thought I was cute.
Yeah.
But they weren't being mean at all. And when you have that realization, suddenly it loses its power. And my fear of public speaking diminished drastically. So the more you question your subconscious mind, the more the answers will appear. And when your subconscious mind, self-sabotage isn't a technique that your subconscious mind uses to punish you. It's not trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. It's trying to help you keep on track, but it's using old programming. So my old programming was, I don't want to be laughed at. Looking at it today, it wasn't important. It shouldn't have controlled me. Definitely impact my current career in a very negative way if I was unable to speak to people. So the more you question your subconscious mind, the more the answers will appear. And then there are other techniques. I can go on and on, Veronique. The book is full of techniques for changing that changing that programming. So yeah, so that's just one of the techniques is to question it, to understand that the answers are there and it's there to protect you. So you want to just go back and look and say, where did this problem start?
Yeah, don't give up. Don't give out all your tricks. Okay, we need to buy this book and read it. But yeah, it's crazy when you think about it. That something that happened to you when you were 8 years old could have incidents, on your current life, maybe like 20 years later, and keep you from doing something you love, something maybe you are very good at. When you think about it, it's really crazy. And I'm thinking about what you said earlier with be careful what you expose yourself to, like news or social media or people you hang out with. I remember having a discussion with my mom and she was saying, I'm so depressed right now. I don't know why. And I asked her, what are you watching on TV all day? And she told me she was watching that crime series. And I told her, you need to stop. You need to stop watching that crime series. Take a break. I know you like it because that will put you in very, very deep depression after a while, seeing all those crime on TV. And yeah, now I'm very careful about the news I watch, people I hang out. I used to have a lot of friends with drama all day long.
Yes.
And little by little, those people need to disappear from your life because that's one of the worst influence you can have in your life. They just take all your energy with them, they leave, and you are left with nothing and feeling very depressed. You don't even know why because they just took it from you. So yeah,
It
really
can, and it
important.
can come from lots of different ways. You don't always know the cause for feeling down. Sometimes it's biology. According to Lisa Feldman Barrett, she says lots of our emotions come from how we are interpreting what's going on inside us biologically. So, you're not aware of all your internal bodily functions, but if something feels off and then your mind is connecting dots in a way that's incorrect and it can put an emotion on that and tell you you're feeling sad. So that's one possible way. Sometimes we just get up in the morning feeling down and grumpy. Sometimes we're
Yes.
just having a bad day. That's all there is to it. But what you learn is that you don't have to just go with that flow. When you acknowledge, I'm feeling down. First of all, you want to stop and think, well, why am I feeling down? If something has happened in your life, you want to acknowledge it. You don't want to deny that painful things have happened. You want to acknowledge it, but then you want to take charge of it. And as I said, sometimes you just get up in the morning and you don't have the faintest idea. You're just grumpy. That's just how it is. But there are lots of things that you can do. It's a two-way street. One of the things I learned, and I didn't believe it when I first came across it, but it was the idea of when you smile, even if it's a fake smile, even if you're just holding a pencil between your teeth. So you're really not smiling, but your mouth is in that position because you've got this pencil between your teeth. Your brain will produce the happy brain chemicals. It will produce endorphin, which will make you happier.
It's connecting.
It is. It's a two-way street. You tend to think, I'm happy, and so I smile. But if you smile, that can make you happy or happier. If you go outdoors and get some sunshine, being in the sun will help your brain produce serotonin, which is something else to make that is a brain chemical that makes you feel happier. So there are lots of these things that you can do. You want to catch your thoughts when you're telling yourself, "Oh, I'm tired, I'm fed up, I can't do this." You want to change those thoughts because if you're depressed, that's going to be the kind of inner talk that you have. We talk to ourselves all the time, Veronique. It's just a natural part of who we are, where there's that constant internal chatter going on. On a bad day, it's going to be, I'm tired, I'm fed up, people hate me, I can't do this. What would happen if you could just replace that? If you
Yeah.
could automatically replace that with affirmations that say, I'm happy, I can do this, I've got this, life is good. Well, it's impossible to be depressed at the same time. But the problem with just positive affirmations is that there is that part of you that is going to defend against it. So if I tell myself I am good, immediately I get back, good, good at what? What does that mean? Who is defining what is good? You can't even go by society. Society historically has chosen things that were bad. So you take black slavery. I hate to keep using the same example. You can look at right now, there's all of these pride, gay pride. There was a time that society deemed being gay as something really, really wrong. So you can't take what society says is good. And this is how I think, Veronique. So, I look at these kinds of issues, and today I think, what am I missing today? What is it that society endorses today that actually isn't good at all? We have to think for ourselves. But so that becomes the problem, though, with positive affirmations. You hear me? I go down this entire avenue when I look at I am good. Just that affirmation. You can have an affirmation that says, I'm happy. When they're audible affirmations, your subconscious mind is going to defend against it. One of the techniques that I talk about in mind training is actually a technology that my husband created. My husband is Eldon Taylor. He created the Inner Talk subliminal self-help programs. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with subliminal self-help programs.
I can think what it is, but I never tried it.
It had a bad rap for a while, but again, I cover that history totally. If you think about it, who is going to work the hardest to convince everyone that subliminal information is not perceived by the mind? It's going to be those people who want to use it. So it's the media, it's the advertisers, it's the big companies, it's politicians. So it's very common for people to say subliminals don't work, they're being used, and they're dangerous. Now, does any of that make any sense to you? If it doesn't work, why would anyone use it? Why would these big advertising companies use it? Why? I cover all the science behind that. And, there's an entire appendix in mind training that goes through the history of why there was a concerted effort to disprove the efficacy of subliminal self-help programs. And it is very, very clear. But if you're interested in the controversy, go take a look at that. I can tell you adamantly that Inner Talk is the only such technology on the market that has been researched by numerous independent universities and institutions, places like Stanford University, Santa Barbara University, Colorado State University. They've looked at the programs and they have said that Inner Talk works to prime your self-talk. So you go back to this discussion about being depressed and that inner chatter that goes on. The research that was done at Colorado State University looked at our Free of Depression program very specifically. They used it with people who were diagnosed with clinical depression. But what they found was that if they played the program enough, and it was like for 15 hours, then it would be effective at priming the self-talk. So used in conjunction with therapy, it was found to be effective. At Stanford University, they looked at the one on exam anxiety, and they found that to be effective at reducing examination anxiety. So it's an automatic way because it's presented subliminally. You're not aware of it. So your mind doesn't put up these defense mechanisms, questioning all the affirmations that are going on. It goes directly into the subconscious mind, that subconscious mind that has been primed with all the negative things that have happened in your life. And it starts to replace that with positive affirmations. Your self-talk is a reflection of your deeper inner beliefs. When you change those deeper inner beliefs, then your life experience changes.
Yeah, actually, I've used that now because we talk about it. Just remind me, I used this 2 years ago. I had a guest, and she had that app about subliminal affirmation, and I used it for like a year. I remember, and she had different for abundance, of manifestation, stuff like that. And I listened to it every day, and I was joking with her. I was saying, "So I hope you're saying good thing in there. You're not telling me to poison my husband or something like that as a joke." Because I cannot really hear them. So there was a music playing and affirmation that you couldn't hear because it's subliminal. So I don't know if she recorded it, but yeah, I remember using that actually, and I thought it was really relaxing. And I think yeah, I'm sure it was working because I manifested some stuff. So
Yeah, we have about 500 different titles in our line, and it's going to go everything from positive mental attitude and optimism plus to success in relationships, even something like finding your perfect partner. If you think about it, if that self-talk within you says, I always pick the wrong person, they always turn out to be horrible. Or there isn't anyone out there. That's the other common thing people will say. There aren't any eligible partners out there. When you have these kinds of beliefs, then when the right person appears, you're not going to see them. You don't see them. So it's not that it's changing what is going on in your life. It's changing how you perceive your life. And when you expect to be lucky, then when good opportunities appear to you, you're going to see them. If you expect to be unlucky and an opportunity comes along, you're going to dismiss it and move on.
totally agree. I used to
It's
be
a
like
very
that. So yeah,
effective technique. And one of the other things that you want to realize, Veronique, with our negativity bias, there was some work done by Dr. Gottman out of the University of Washington. And what he found was he could predict, just observing a couple talking to each other for half an hour, he could predict the likelihood of them getting a divorce or remaining together in like the next 5 years. And he says that that negativity bias, if your partner constantly dismisses what you say, rolls his eyes, doesn't take you seriously, diminishes your beliefs, these things come across in micro cues. You get to see them. You get those, or maybe not just micro cues, it can be the little expressions. So this makes a definite impact. But what Dr. Gottman found was there needs to be at least 5 positive things for every negative thing. So if you've hurt your partner, say, you cannot just apologize to them and expect that to be it. You have to have 5 demonstrations that whatever you had done to hurt them wasn't real. You have to demonstrate to them that you love them. It will take at least 5 positives to counteract every negative. When you look at the programming in your subconscious mind, that holds on to these negative beliefs. So it's going to take a great deal of positive to break that down, to break through that. And that again is the beauty of the inner talk subliminal programs, because you just play them in the background. I play them in the background all day long. I've got positive. We don't live in pristine environments. There's a great deal going on in the world that isn't positive. Maybe we have family interactions that aren't positive. Things happen, life happens. But the more you can keep your positivity up, the better your outlook is in many different areas. Research has shown there was a longitudinal nurses study that was done, and they looked at journals kept by these nurses. And what they found was that the more optimistic nurses had drastically reduced risks of dying from different conditions. I think it was like 13% less chance of dying from cancer. And it went up to 52% less risk of dying from an infection for optimism. But they've looked at optimism in lots of other areas too. So they have found optimistic people will live longer, be more financially successful, be happier, have better relationships, be healthier. it goes across the board. So if you are naturally a negative kind of person, if you tend to be pessimistic, then you want to take steps to change that. And again, I do outline tools in mind training. Journaling can be a really good thing to do if you start keeping a gratitude journal. So every day, think of 3 things that you've got to be grateful for. Now, I don't keep a journal myself. I don't tend to have the time to. But one of the practices I have at nighttime when I get into bed, turn off the lights, I will take a few diaphragmatic breaths because once again, that helps you produce happy brain chemicals. I can do that in bed. I take a few slow breaths. That's also going to slow down brainwave activity, which is going to help me relax and help me fall asleep. But then I will go through 3 things I'm grateful for. So as I'm going into sleep, I'm going to sleep with an attitude of gratitude. I also do the same thing with forgiveness. I
Oh,
think of
that's
people
hard.
that I may be unhappy with, and then I start forgiving them. And I forgive myself for mistakes I've made. We all make mistakes. We're human. But when you do that, so that is part of my routine at night when I go to sleep. So it doesn't have to take a great deal of time, but bringing it back to the optimism, spending a little bit of time every day focusing on gratitude is going to have long-term positive results. In fact, Barbara Fredrickson from Michigan State University called it the upward spirals effect. She's looking at positivity, and what happens is the more positive you are today, the fewer stressful situations you will experience in the future. It's not that your life changes, but it's easier for you to let the small stuff go. You're not going to, just hone in on something bad that has happened to you. You'll just let things go. It'll roll off your back. You'll be happier. You'll be healthier.
Yeah, I used sometimes to wake up mad about something that happened like 10 years ago. I could hold on stuff forever. I don't do that anymore. But yeah, it's yeah, not pay attention to all the little things. You cannot control everything anywhere in your life. So to go back to what you said earlier about the husband and wife talking and this person saying he'd be able to say if they would get a divorce or not. It reminds me of one of my friends. I remember when I met her, the first few months we were talking, she was always talking about her husband negatively. She never said anything positive about her husband. And they've been together for 20 years. And sometimes I was thinking, is this guy doing anything right? Because every time she talk about him, it's negative. Every time. And yeah, now the divorce. So I'm like, yeah, I could have told you that 3 years ago because you never say anything positive about him. And you said something else about, yeah, negative thought and that how it can affect you. I had also another friend who was telling me for a whole year, something bad is going to happen to me. Something bad is going to happen to me. I don't know, every day, like the whole year. And she got cancer. And she was telling me, I think I gave myself cancer. And I was thinking, I think, yeah, you did because you were so negative, thinking every day something bad is going to happen to you. I don't know, something, yeah, you cannot try
They
to know.
have they have actually looked at that too. They have looked at the profile of people who are more likely to get cancer. And you're right, the pessimistic profile is in there as well. One of the things you want to be careful about, though, Veronique, is that you can't, there is, when you have artificial optimism, that the toxic positivity people can refer to
Oh,
it
yeah.
as, when you put on a show of being positive. What they also found when it came to cancer was the females who were overly optimistic. That could also be part of the profile for developing cancer. And they discovered there that it wasn't that they were actually optimistic, they were just denying. They were just
Mm.
pretending, and that can cause it too. That reduces when you spend energy being negative, being pessimistic, well, your body is unable to thrive when you're constantly talking negatively. I'm not saying that in your friend's instance, her saying that caused it. I'm not saying that she manifested it, but she certainly
That's
wasn't
what she
doing
said.
any favors. She wasn't doing any favors for herself by focusing on that. If she had spent time, and also just the other side of it, Veronique, you can spend so much time fixated on what can go wrong that you detract from today's experience. Pessimistic people can often, just dwell too much on all the things that are wrong in their life. So they are anticipating the worst possible outcome. But there's a possibility that that worst possible outcome won't happen at all.
That's why it's, that's why it's important to live in the present, right?
Yeah, exactly. You want to value today. So if you've got something coming up and you're fixated on everything that could go wrong, think of the time that you're wasting in between. First of all, you could be enjoying today, but instead you can't enjoy today because you're afraid of something that might happen next week, but it also might not happen. And it may not happen the way that you think it is. And it may go more positively than you expect. You don't know. So why waste today worrying about tomorrow or imagining the worst about tomorrow? It just doesn't do you any good. And in the meantime, you're depleting your own inner reserves so that you're not as capable of handling the situation when it appears.
So I have a question that I saw on your bio about, and I don't know what it is. What is neuroplasticity? Could you talk about that? What is it and how can it help?
Plasticity is your ability to learn. There is that
Okay.
expression, neurons that fire together, wire together. We can often do things at the same time. So, for example, here we go. I'll give you when I'm in the evening, when I will sit down on the sofa, I immediately start thinking about food. Not thinking about it
Yes.
before, but it's like I'm on the sofa. What snacks can I have? Because somewhere in my past, I have the two associated together. It's time I can relax now. I can enjoy myself now. And so therefore I'm going to start reaching for snacks. I'm going to sit on the sofa. I need to eat. We've got those two things wired together. We have lots of these kinds of experiences that go on all the time. Lots of people will reach for desserts and treats or something if they've had a bad day, and so they deserve a treat, or if they've had a good day, and so they're celebrating. Exactly. I had you have this pairing going on, and frequently it's going to come from our childhood training. Perhaps when we were upset, mom brought us cake or ice cream to help us feel better. But if we look back on it and say, well, there's a pairing that has gone on there, so I need to break that pairing. I had an experience just recently, Veronique. It actually amused me as well. Recently, I have developed an appreciation for salt and vinegar chips. So at the
Oh,
end of the
I used to
day,
love that when I live in England. I eat that all
yeah,
the time. I couldn't eat it here, but when I live in England, I used to eat that almost every
I think
day.
in part that was the association I had. My mom used to love them. And over Christmas, my son's fiance was spending time with us and she asked me to get some salt and vinegar chips. I got them, I had them, I liked them. I've been buying them ever since. So I would munch on them. You know what chips are like? You can't just eat one. So I would have too many. So then I decided, okay, I need to stop this. So I don't want them in the house. That's how I'm going to do it. So I made sure I finished off the bag that I had so I couldn't be tempted. So I overate. I overate to hurry up and finish them. And then my husband bought me another bag. Okay.
Self-sabotaging is
He saw me
sabotaging
enjoying
yourself.
it. He saw me enjoying it. He wanted me to have something that I enjoyed. So he got some more. So I realized I need to break this pairing myself. And you said earlier on, you know, I said, I need to choose differently. It's not going to be a pairing. It's not going to be an association of my mom love them. It's not going to be an association of it's the end of the day, so I can relax. I'm not even going to have the association. There's commercials on TV. You can't eat just one. These things program you. I looked at all of these things and I chose differently. So neuroplasticity, I chose to take the pairing that went on and to break it. I will create a different habit. I will choose differently. And I found it fascinating that once I actively chose not to eat as many, I'll eat one or two and that's it. I stopped, as opposed to, eating them by the handful and keep on going. No. So I actively chose not to. So you can do that in lots of different areas, but choosing even memory. Okay. You wouldn't think there's any association between eating chips and having a good memory. But this idea of choosing what I want to do. So memory, lots of us will say, I just don't remember things as well anymore. I keep forgetting. I'm really bad with names. This is one that I used to have. I used to be really, really bad with names. So when I was introduced to someone, in my mind, there was always, I don't remember names anyway. And so I wouldn't remember. And so I wouldn't remember. And then I learned about you have attention and intention. In order to, if you want to remember something, first of all, choose to remember. Okay. So that is, so I pay attention. If I'm introduced to somebody, I will, I will pay attention. And then I have the intention to remember. So what I did when I first uncovered this was when I was introduced to someone, as soon as I had left, I would write their name down in my phone. I actually have notes. I would write it down. Or I've got a board on my refrigerator at home. And when we had, people move in next door and I was introduced to them, I wrote their names down. I made, I had an intention. I created a plan that I would do something in order to remember. And the other thing that you can do too for memory is association. So oftentimes in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth, getting ready, my mind's thinking about the day, thinking of all the things that I want to achieve. And then I think, oh, I have to remember XYZ, whatever it may be. There is this event boundary issue that we all experience. Have you ever been in a room, go into a different room to get something, and as soon as you're in the other room, you forget what it was? That's called the event boundary. So you have these things.
Really?
But
I
so
didn't know
what
he
I
had a
would
name.
do, what I would do in the morning, what I do frequently, there's two things. I will create an association so I can tell myself, okay, when I get to my office and I see the plants on the window ledge, I always look at my plants because I've developed a passion for propagating plants. So I've got all of these different cuttings in the window. So I will look at them. So I will tell myself when I'm upstairs in the bathroom getting ready, when I go to my office and see the plants on my windowsill, I will remember whatever it was. You'd be amazed how well that works, Veronique. It works incredibly well, but I make the intention. I give it attention. So I think, okay, I will remember this. And I make the intention. So I put things in place in order to remember. It works brilliantly. Try it.
Well, I will. It's so funny that you talk about when somebody introduces you to someone because, oh my God, I'm thinking anyway, I'm not going to remember his name in 2 minutes. If we go to a barbecue or somebody's party and I don't know some people, I don't even bother retaining the name because I'm like, I'm not remember your name in 5 minutes. There's too many people.
Yeah,
That's
it does.
exactly what I do.
It can reach a point of too many people, when you have too
Yeah.
many names, but just pick some. You don't have to remember them all, but you start practicing for yourself or the person that you're really talking to a lot. It's okay for me today. I say, I'll ask someone afterwards, what was your name again? It's okay because I again am creating the intention and attention. And then I will lock it in. I lock it in into my mind. And as I said, it works really well. But first of all, you have to cancel out the thought, I'm not going to remember it anyway.
Yeah.
Because as
Yeah.
soon
Thank you
as
for
you
that
do
tip.
that, you've created circumstances where you're not going to remember.
So how did you heal yourself from I'm sorry, I'm just jumping about to another topic because I just remember that when I read your bio, I was like, wow. So you heal yourself from rheumatoid arthritis.
I
How did you
did.
do that? Is it by mentally? You did that mentally?
I used every tool that I have. I use lots of the tools that are in my training. I use all the different techniques, but it really comes down to three different approaches that I went for. First of all, a great deal of the work that my husband and I do is to do with self responsibility. Now, I will tell you, first of all, this is not meant to judge anybody else. Self responsibility is something we do for ourselves. So for me, when you take responsibility for everything that goes on in your life, so you have an argument with someone, well, what role did I play in that? Because you're part of it. It's not all somebody else's fault. When you're sick, okay, why did I choose to get sick? And that can be a hard one for people. But if you think about it, when you're sick, you can frequently get extra attention. You can get out of doing something. There could be some other reason. So when I developed the RA, first of all, I went to the doctors. I got it diagnosed. I got onto meds that alleviated it, but I wanted off the meds. I don't do meds either. So I did that first of all. But then it's like, okay, why am I doing this to myself? Now, the beauty of this, Veronique, is that you don't have to share this information with anybody. And remember earlier, I said the more you question your subconscious mind, the more it'll give you the right answers. But first of all, it'll give you some answers that are garbage, that don't relate to anything. You just want to be
Okay.
open to it all. And then you want to feel them out. So I asked myself, why am I doing this to me? And as the answers came up, I would feel them out, and then I hit on what I thought was the right answer. And as I said, you don't have to share this information. You can keep your embarrassment to yourself, whatever. I mean, why would I do such a thing? That's the way it is. But I did that work first of all, and I'm pretty sure I hit on the right answer. Then I also talked to you earlier about the inner talk subliminal programs. The placebo effect is a wonderful example of the power of the mind. We're all familiar with the placebo effect. That's where an inert compound, whatever, can have an effect, even though there's nothing in there. That's what the placebo response is. So your mind can hurt you and it can heal you. You take on board all of this different information. What I wanted to do was I wanted to boost that that self-healing ability of my own. We know that the body can heal itself. So when you take a lump of sugar and you're told that it's got, you know, this different drug on it and you get the benefit, that's great. So you have the proof there. So I wanted to boost that self-healing ability myself. So I used our inner talk program, Accelerated Healing and Wellbeing. I played that program every night, all night for 15 months. The affirmations on that program. This is the Accelerated Healing and Wellbeing. It's a program of ours. It's an inner talk
Oh, yes.
program,
Okay.
inner talk subliminal
Okay.
self-help program. Yeah. So I inundated my subconscious mind with affirmations that my body heals perfectly. My body responds. I am healthy. I am strong. I inundated my mind with that. Then I came across a supplement. Now, in my search for healing, I didn't want things that helped, Veronique. I wanted this gone. Having RA just didn't fit with me. I didn't want it at all. So I didn't want stuff that could just help. But I came across a supplement, CMO. You can buy CMO on Amazon today. But at the time, Dr. Sands, who discovered CMO, he was alive still, and I was nursing my son at the time. So I contacted his office to find out if there were any contraindications for nursing. And they said no. So I took these supplements. I took 2 supplements twice a day morning and night for 2 weeks. Now, previously, I had tried to come off my meds. So this was, after using the Inner Talk subliminal program and doing all the mental work, self responsibility work of my own, I had tried to come off my meds and been unsuccessful. I would have a flare up, joints would swell, they would stiffen, my fingers would get stuck in. It was ugly, ugly time. Scary for a young mom because my son, when I was first diagnosed, my son was 3 months old and I was having problems changing his diaper because I couldn't hold his legs up with my left hand to put the diaper in underneath. He was 3 months old. How the heck was I going to take care of him as he got older and bigger and heavier? So it,
Oh,
it was
because
difficult.
I thought that was something that happened to all people also. Because you said you were nursing your son, so I'm surprised. Arthritis.
The rheumatoid arthritis,
Yeah.
there's lots of things that can trigger it. But no, I came across this supplement for CMO. I took these pills twice a day, 2 pills twice a day for 2 weeks. Came off my meds, was fine. A week later, I had a pain in my shoulder. I took my meds morning, night, and morning, came off them. Following week, the pain came back. I took the meds twice. Following week, the pain came back. I took the meds once. I've not had any RA meds for 26 years now. And my inflammation numbers.
What kind of supplement is that? Is that vitamins? What is it?
CMO.
CMO.
CMO. When Dr. Sands discovered it, first of all, this is actually an interesting story, Veronique, because I was vegetarian. Today, I'm totally vegan. But at the time, I was vegetarian. My family's from India. We're not Hindus, but we've got lots of extended family and friends who are Hindus. So I did not eat beef. I hadn't really eaten beef. I mean, the only beef I'd had in my life may have been at school when I was a kid, and it was nasty, really nasty. Imagine
Okay.
cafeteria type food. It was horrible, rubbery. But when I had my oldest son, I had a craving for chicken, and I ate chicken. With my youngest son, I had a craving for beef, and that was harder for me because it wasn't just my own desire to be vegetarian. It was the fact that my entire upbringing, I was told, don't eat beef. I did get a McDonald's beef burger once, Veronique, and I scarfed it down, and my husband was amazed that I would. I had a craving. Turns out the original CMO that Dr. Sands created or discovered is an extract of beef. So I was
It is.
pregnant with my youngest son, having a craving for beef. I had the beef once, but I wouldn't have it again. I supplemented it with other things. I tried to find other ways around it. And then I come across this supplement that I think they said 90% of the people got 70% better, or it had a high cure rate as well. The numbers there were high enough for me to say, hey, there can be something in this. So I took those supplements. It wasn't until I turned vegan about 6, 7 years ago that I actually got my inflammation numbers down as well. Prior to that, the doctor wanted to put me on something because my inflammation numbers were high, but it's totally normal now. But I did not have any RA symptoms whatsoever 15 months after I was first diagnosed. So I said I used all of the tools, everything that I could come across. I boosted my own self healing abilities. I did the self responsibility work. I tend to think if CMO is so powerful, everybody would be using it to cure themselves of RA. But for me, perhaps it worked as that placebo that I needed, something to push me over the edge to allow myself to heal. I don't know. I don't know. I've told other people about CMO. They've not had the same results I've had. I do have someone I know right now who takes CMO constantly, just takes it constantly, but he has osteoarthritis, and this that supplement keeps that at bay. So it makes it possible for him to go on walks and do all of that. So he's taking it constantly. I took it for 2 weeks and was done with
Maybe
it.
it was a combination of the subliminal and like you say the
Yes,
placebo and
it is.
everything that you did together.
Yep, that's what I believe.
So nocebo effect, what is that? Is when it's like negative?
Nocebo is when you take something and it can have a harmful effect. There was research that was done looking at asthmatic patients. And one of the things they found was if they gave them a bronchodilator, which would make it easier for them to breathe, but told them it was a bronchoconstrictor, they would have difficulty breathing. So they're taking a drug, but they're told it has the opposite effect and they experience the opposite effect.
Really?
Nocebo, people undergoing cancer treatment can experience the nocebo effect because they go in for their chemotherapy. They're aware they're going to feel sick afterwards, so they start to feel sick right away. It's just this idea that certain certain pills or things that you take can have a negative effect on you. So that's what the nocebo is. It works in both directions, placebo and nocebo.
Yeah, our mind is so powerful, right?
It is.
I think we could do, anything with our minds. Well, I have like 1,000 questions, but we're almost out of time. I think you're gonna need to come back. Maybe is there something you want to add for our listeners and I didn't ask?
There's a great deal that there's a great deal that we can do. I think the most important message I would like to leave with your listeners is you're more powerful than you think you are. You have more control over your life and the life experience than you think you have. What you have to do is you have to choose it. You have to claim it. You have to do the work for it. And then you can get into the driver's seat of your own life. You can make changes. There's very few situations that you don't have the ability to make better.
So thank you for those words. It's so important. So your book is called Mind Training: The Science of Self-Empowerment.
Yes.
We can find it, I guess, anywhere on Amazon. Can we
Yep.
listen to it? Is it on Audible?
Yet.
No? Oh, not yet. Okay.
No, I do that one. I've looked at the AI voice versions and they're not good. It's like mind training is in my own voice. I tell my own stories, my own experiences, my research. It's all of my interest. So I really want to do it in my own voice if I can. And that's going to be time intensive, but I will get there. It's definitely on the plans.
Okay. And do you work with your husband? Do you and your husband offer some programs, or can people consult to you? Are you like a doctor on your own practice and you just wrote that book to help people?
We are not My husband and I do work together. We are not seeing patients. The work that we do is through our Inner Talk program. So you can learn more about Inner Talk just by going to innertalk.com. There's a banner at the top that says browse the store. You click on that link. We've got about 500 different titles that you can try, that you can use for yourself. Everything is really affordable. Everything is actually cheap for what it is. That was the idea. We've always believed in self-empowerment. So we don't create these elaborate courses that cost vast amounts. I have everything in the book. I have the teachings, the philosophy, all the training in the book. And then to automate the process, make it easier, we have the Inner Talk programs.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ravinder. I love the conversation. It went so fast. I swear, it went really fast. I was looking at the clock. I'm like, oh my God. So already an hour. So thank you for coming here and sharing all your very insightful knowledge. Love it. I love having scientists here. And I will put all the information, of course, in the show notes so people can order your book and download the Inner Talk. Really important. I guess a lot of subliminal in there, right?
On the website, there are lots of them.
Yeah.
In the
Okay.
book, I discuss how it works and the science behind it all and some of the things that you can expect to achieve. So, yes.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much. And I hope you all the best. And thank you for helping, all of us in this little world. Thank you very
Thanks for having me on, Veronique. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.